How's it going? John with Luxe here. We're going to show you a new product. We have finally made a product that covers the entire racetrack tail lamp of a Dodge Durango. We're going to offer this in our light wrap shades, light, medium, and dark, and also gloss white for you to get that look of having a white racetrack tail lamp. The red will shine through it at night. It'll be like a pinkish reddish color, but we're going to show you that, and we're going to show you how to install it right now. All right, guys, so this is the kit. You're gonna have one long strip for the top, one long strip for the bottom middle, and then one for each side here. Some other companies actually will put slits here to make this a little bit easier to install, but then you end up with this overlap where the light doesn't look the same. So we've made it as easy as we can to install by putting transfer paper over the kit. You can actually see the kit ends here and the transfer paper ends here. This prevents the vinyl from overstretching in a lot of instances, makes it very, very easy for you to install. We're gonna start here at the top now. So office chair, something to sit on makes this a lot easier. So you can put this right here. If you look, we have casting marks in the taillight from Dodge, little dots, one in the D, one at the top, one at the bottom. We've put an arrow here so you know where the center mark of our decal is instead of drawing on it. What we're gonna do, start by pulling right here at the tab, separating the backing paper. And we're gonna tear the backing paper and fold it over like this. This lets us work with a little bit of the decal without freeing the whole thing. It's very easy to line that top marker up with that dot. And all I'm trying to do is get the white bottom edge here to lay right where the crease is. Looks like I've got it. Looks like my center mark is pretty good. It might be an 1/8 inch to the right, but I think the decal is forgiving enough that that won't matter. So we'll move over to one side. Again, eyes are on the bottom of this white stripe, trying to get it to fall perfectly into where that crease is. You can use the letters. I'm pulling just a tiny bit of tension with my right hand. And then as you can see, I'm kind of tacking it in place with my left. This is where that transfer paper comes in handy. If it weren't there, I'd be stretching this white vinyl and I would ruin the shape. So now what I've done is I see here where the peak of the taillight turns, hits that white, and I'm using it to look and make sure that the line stays parallel with the top. Looks like we did pretty good. That's gonna fall a little bit short, so look, I can pull it right back up. Swing it down just a little, and I mean that correction was maybe a millimeter or two. It's really how picky do you want to be. If you look at the decal, the red light here actually is much skinnier than the white. So we've added extra top and bottom to make this an easier product to install. So you can really just sit here, and let me show you another trick. It's also gonna make it a lot easier to install because now we can look and make sure that the white is gonna cover the red everywhere. And that's exactly what we wanna see. Looks great. So I think at this point, we can push right on the peak there. We can start working down this side. This time we're gonna do it with the lights on and show you how much easier it is. Now look how easy it is. I can just see where it's gonna fall. And all I have to do is use my thumb to go right across that ridge, just like I did on the other side. We know we're gonna hit it. It looks good. I'm gonna pull it up and move it down just a hair there. And there we go. Now we're gonna introduce the squeegee. First thing I'm gonna do is apply the decal down. You can really see the squeegee marks as I push down and the film locks onto the light. Now look, we kind of curved up right there. Probably wouldn't matter to some people. I'm gonna fix it, especially because I have that transfer paper or vinyl or tape. Look at that. Here we have a tiny wrinkle right there. Pull it up, correct it, good to go. Same exact thing on this side. Now we got to get the top. First thing I'm going to do there is just use my hand to help round it further over that edge. Then come back in and chop it off. We can get that when we open the hatch, since the way the light is made, it's kind of in the way. Now I feel comfortable doing this in a long swooping motion because I've already used my hand. If I didn't use my hand, there's no way I would come and try to round it all the way over that using only the squeegee. Using that little triangle that we used to line up the center, just gonna peel that back. Make sure that the vinyl is down. Go slow to begin with, but look, the vinyl is applied. So we're gonna pull this down and just tear it. Being careful, I'm looking at the edges. Oh, see, that's why. Push it back, push the vinyl down. Actually better to roll it over itself. Still being careful to look top and bottom to see if I see any slack vinyl. This tiny little finger that formed, we can rub that. There we go. We'll go ahead and knock that out down this side. And now we'll lock these edges down. So as you'll see, there's a couple millimeters, maybe 1/8 of an inch hanging off the edge here. Philosophy on that is it's better to have too much than not have enough. Alrighty, so as you can see, we have just a little bit of an edge right here. I'm just gonna put a slit right at that hard crease and then just fold it over. You can handle this any way you want. You can tuck all that film in. You can not slit it and try to pull it. There's really no right, no wrong. That's gonna hold well, especially with the heat on it. So that I consider to be done. Same exact thing over here. Perfectly acceptable to me. I know it's not gonna fail. And then we shut this hatch. I highly doubt anybody's gonna be able to tell what we just did. Looks great. Great. Gloss white stripe. If this was a white Durango, this would be one hell of a look. This is wild. All right. So let's move on to the bottom piece here. As you can see, the top one, the arrow pointed up because the dot was closer to the top. On this one, the arrow points down because it's closer here. I guess I could have put it facing up, but it was gonna hit the D and that would be a problem. So I thought it would be better to go down. So when you buy the skit, the bottom arrow goes down, top arrow goes up. Same exact tactic though. We're gonna try to pull the decal apart right here. Make sure the decal's attached to the transfer paper and not the backing paper when you do this. You wanna see the decal here. We're gonna tear, we're gonna fold over. Go, fold over, fold over. I'm gonna have to flip that in my hands. And now the position, we wanna have the white hit and we want the arrow in the right spot. It's our main goal. All right, work down, that looks great. Now, before we start this one, I'm gonna go turn the light back on, because remember what we learned on the top. It's a lot easier to do that. You get a couple minutes every time you turn the lights on before the truck shuts them back off automatically. You can do it with the key by just hitting unlock, but you only get about 20 seconds of light. Now this one might require a tiny bit of stretch to conform around this outside curve and this inside curve. it's built into the kit. So if you try to hold this up to the truck just on the paper, it doesn't look like it's gonna fit. But that's because you have to put just the tiniest bit of tension in the right spot to make sure that we don't end up with fingers on the top or bottom of this ridge. So see, I'm gonna pick it up and actually pull a little bit up and this way so that this white line now goes parallel to that red. See, there's no fingers right here, no tension, no extra material, and it's holding tight right on the ridge. It's because of that tiny, tiny bit of stretch I put right there. And again, you don't have to be a professional and get that perfect the first time. That's what this transfer paper is for. I can pull it right back up and try to be more careful if I needed to reposition it. The only thing I'm in danger of is getting contaminants behind it every time I lift it. But remember, you're only about a foot away from your taillight with your eyes right now. If you see a tiny, tiny 1 millimeter piece of hair, don't fret, because Jose can't see it, and when you back up 3 feet, nobody's gonna be able to notice it. I mean, look at that fitment. Look at that white line. Follows perfect. Right up, right over. Doesn't get more accurate than that. So you can see the tint's kind of flapped up. It's some tension going this way. That's why we were putting that stretch on it. So now when we flip it over, it hugs that corner. And we don't end up with any wrinkles. Look how easy it is to apply all that. I start right in the corner and work my way to the flat parts. Again, start in a corner, work flat. Free this part. Okay. But see how that flipped right over? Just like the other side. For the top. Okay, now see, I lifted it and the decal lifted with it. So gotta stop right there. Stop right there, and I'm gonna put some heat down. You see what's happening is the vinyl actually covers that casting mark a little bit because the casting mark is right next to the red line. So what's happening is the vinyl's just not perfectly stuck right there. So look how much crisper the embossing of that dot just got. Hopefully that activates the adhesive on the vinyl a little bit stronger. There we go, look. And again, pull the transfer paper up over itself, the opposite of how you remove vinyl. You do not want to do this when you remove vinyl. Try to tear it right in the middle if possible. Yeah. And pull it really slow against itself. See how that wasn't attached right there? That's why I'm pulling it back. It doesn't stretch the vinyl. I can go right back in and set that down. It's going to become really important around these curves where it might not be as easy. There we go. Whoop.
We're gonna do the same thing we did on the top one. Just put a little slit.
Put a little fold over right there. Really want to activate that adhesive. Okay, so now we move on to the side piece. This piece is the one that is going to require some heat. Unless it's hot outside, it might work for you. It's winter here, so I can't tell you if that's going to work or not without heat. I'm just going to use heat. But it's going to help us stretch the material down into this one groove. Other than that, we're really not going to need it anywhere. This is where most of the other companies will put a slit because it makes it easier for you to install. It actually makes it a lot easier for them to produce. There's less material that they need. That's probably their main concern. Our concern is making the best looking product we can possibly make on the vehicle. So that's what I think we've done here. Again, turn the lights on first. Ideally, you remember to do that before you peel the backing paper so you don't have to walk around with a decal in your hand. But we're pros here. So I'm just gonna kind of put things generally where I think they should go. And the first time I'm gonna start really looking at stuff is over here. You think this looks straight to your eye and this is curved, but that's needed to get this kit on. Actually, I'm gonna pull this up, probably stick it just right here for the moment. There we go, that's a better play. Really wanna make sure I cover that there. All right, I'm just a little twisted. Haha. Okay, let me get this in place. You can see it's flipped up. It's that little bit of tension we put on it, and it's absolutely perfect because it's gonna just hug when I push around that corner. Before I do that though, look, it's actually conforming quite nicely without heat. Want that white to line up with that other decal. Looks like that's gonna do that. Wow, we got most of it down without heat, but see, it's still tinted right there. Oh, bam, that popped right over. Perfect. Squeegee time. Chop into those little guys, get them cleared up. And down here, right along that ridge, just a little bit. Let's see how that's gonna work out. Might use some heat down there. And then also lay that down when we pulled the transfer paper off. First, all right, that actually worked out pretty good. Just kind of moving it out left and right. We'll come back for that once we get the transfer paper off. Go for the heat gun. Try not to put too much heat on the vinyl while it's got the transfer paper over it, and like push out little wrinkles or things. Put just enough. See, I'm putting it really right here in this corner so that I can do this. That's what I needed. Again, just enough to warm it up a little bit. Not trying to post heat, do anything crazy right here. Just enough to soften it and help me work some of this. See, the magic of this transfer paper is that it helps hold that line straight. If that transfer paper weren't there, you'd get some really weird wavy looks by using the heat there. Here, we're gonna pull the transfer paper and then take care of a couple things. Look, it's actually separated itself from the vinyl, which is perfect. Seemed like a logical place to start pulling. I never want to start pulling over here because that vinyl is not attached. And now I can pull again over, just like that. Let's see what we can do. Definitely an awkward little edge here. Kind of get it to flip up over itself. Let's see if I can't put just the tiniest bit of heat on it. And flip it over. A little bit of a weird wrinkle. It's a good thing about cast vehicle wrap vinyl though. Just pull back past that. You should be able to heal that out. Perfect. Look at that. There we go. That's exactly what we were hoping for. That'll be good for right now. We'll open the hatch and get that thing locked completely. Yeah, you can go ahead. Perfect. Not a lot of room back here to tuck the material to, so if you need to, just go ahead and cut it right on the edge. But it actually looks like I got it on there. Pretty good. Now, the rest of the transfer. We got a little right there that wasn't down. Want to make sure you have no bubbles in that ridge right there. Like that little bitty bubble. With my squeegee, I don't know if you can see it, but you just want to make sure that we have nothing hidden in that little ridge right there. Okay, transfer paper is off. That's that little wrinkle that we had trouble with earlier. Just gonna heat it and let the material do what it wants to do. Not gonna hit it yet with a squeegee or anything. Let it cool down first. Just push it out. Not bad enough to worry about at all. Push that down. Let's heat this edge. Get everything pressed down once again on the edges.